Now to the other story that we're following for you tonight. A fired juvenile detention center officer wants to shed new light on a teenager's death at the facility. It's a story you'll see only on News Channel 5. 18-year-old Eric Perez died last week at a West Palm Beach juvenile lockup. The cause of death hasn't been released. News Channel 5's Mike Trim tells us why the officer is talking publicly now. Mike?
Well, that's right, Jim. He says he tried to get Perez help up to 5 hours before his death, but he says he was told by his boss to stop. Now that he's been fired, he plans to sue the state under Florida's Whistleblower Act. This former juvenile detention center officer doesn't want his identity revealed, but he wants his story told to everyone.
I was given a directive order from my supervisor not to call 911. That's it.
It's the story he says hasn't been told about 18-year-old Eric Perez's death here at the Palm Beach Regional Juvenile Detention Center in West Palm Beach. The officer says he was on guard duty in an area with several juvenile detention rooms with a common area in the middle. That's where he says he saw Perez violently vomiting at about 2:15 a.m., roughly 5 hours before he died. He says he wanted to call 911, but his boss said no. He says another officer left 2 voicemails with an on-call nurse and then called the center's superintendent, who allegedly said not to call 911 as well, but instead watch Perez closely. Perez fell asleep, according to this officer, and more than 3 hours later, he was allegedly taken to a medical confinement room. And at some point after that, Perez died.
I mean, what kind of feelings do you have right now?
I feel upset and sad at the same time.
The officer says after Perez died, investigators asked him questions. He says he told them about being instructed not to call 911. Then a few days later, he was let go. The officer says he was told he hadn't completed his probationary period for his new promotion properly. This after being an employee for 5 years. Now, the same officer told me he thought Perez was a bright kid who was on his way to making something for himself. In all, 6 detention center staffers were placed on administrative leave after Perez's death. 2 were fired. I'm Mike Trim for News Channel 5.